Good morning. This video is October 8th. Pretty sure it's the 8th. Hold on. Yep. October 8th, 2024. I wanted to talk to the world, or anyone who wants to pay attention to me, about the disaster with Helene in Tennessee, North Carolina. This conversation has to do with the privatization of the government. And I'm trying to be as not political as possible, but this deals with political organizations, so that's not possible. And I'm also trying to not choose any kind of party. To help you know where I stand on things, I am an independent. Sometimes I'll vote Democrat, sometimes I'll vote Republican. It really depends on what are the biggest issues. And I'll give you an example. This election, I wanted to vote for Kennedy, and people are like, oh, the guy with the brainworm, the guy who cuts off animals' heads and takes them home. And it's like, tell me you don't have life experience without telling me you don't have life experience. Like you've never seen someone hunt before and cut the head of an animal off and mount it as a trophy on their wall. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's actually kind of quite normal, whether you agree with it or not. And is that really a reason to not vote for someone? Because an already dead animal is going to be consumed. Makes no sense to me. And then like the brainworm thing, it's like, someone was honest about their health issues. They came out of those health issues pretty much unharmed. They're still mentally competent, and in terms of mental capability, can run circles around Trump and Biden combined, speaking mentally and physically. We're talking about a guy who could run a marathon at his age, and we're not going to vote for him because he had a brain worm. If you make fun of someone like that and make that as a reason why, I mean, Roosevelt, in his third term, right, wasn't he rolling around in a wheelchair, disabled? But we still voted for him, and he was one of our best presidents. You can ask anyone from any party that. So they're not valid, down-to-earth reasons on why you should not vote for someone. They're actually selfish. It's the same thing with saying Trump's a draft dodger. I'm not going to vote for him. I'm a veteran. Well, first off, there is a crap ton of veterans that are voting for Trump, whether you want to believe it or not. And shouldn't we all be trying to dodge the draft? Let's be really honest here. Do you really want to fight a rich man's war, a never-ending war, constant war all the time, because of some stupid reason, because of a religious belief, because some country has a resource that we want or need or think we need? And you want to fight wars over that and then be told that you're fighting for and dying for your fellow countrymen's freedoms? Listen, it's not the Civil War. It's not the Revolutionary War anymore. Pretty much every war ever since then, has been for some other reason. I think we can justify totalitarianism and the spread of dictatorships, not communism, not socialism, dictatorships, across the globe, around the world. It's pretty much common sense, right? But after that, we were getting into wars we really didn't need to get into, and we were not coming out of them because of, now we get back on my point, privatization of things. Anytime, you hear the government, there are always people on the right specifically. Again, I'm an independent. I may be trying to vote for Trump this election, but I can still criticize him and other Republicans for the things they do. Just like I wanted to vote for Bernie back in 2016. Oh, that evil socialist. Nope, let's get educated, folks. There's a difference between socialism and communism. They are like capitalism. They are economic systems. They're not dictatorships, which is what Mussolini and Adolf Hitler and Hideki Tojo, if I'm even saying that right, in Japan were back in World War II. Let's get our facts straight. You can be a socialist and not a dictator. You can be a capitalist and be a dictator. And, there's differences between all these things, and I don't think people know what they're talking about when they say otherwise. That being said, America, again, we're getting a little off topic here, is a mixed system. You can go to any economics class and they will tell you that. America has a capitalist market with a socialist welfare reform system. It's a mixed system, and when capitalism gets out of control and out of way, crony capitalism, greed, whatever it might be, inflation gets too high, deflation gets too high, guess what happens? The government steps in and does things to control that inflation or that messed up capitalist system, which, guess what, is not a complete free market then, is it? So, let's get schooled here, folks. So continuing on, back to the privatization of things. Republicans, again, I'm voting for Trump, but I'm going to criticize some Republican things here. They want to privatize things. They want to spread the wealth. Well, listen, if you don't like big government and your argument against big government is to privatize things, I got news for you. That's not what's happening. Because when you privatize things, for instance, I'm a government contractor. The government should have me as a full-time government employee to do what I do. But instead, I'm a contractor. I don't get the government pay. I don't get the government benefits. Instead, they contract out to a third party to do my job. And because of that, they're paying a middleman. That middleman is making thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars because they're the CEO of the company, right? So he's making millions off of government contracts while we're making chump change. Do you really think that because the government privatizes things that they're not just going to spread the wealth to someone else? If the government is paying my company to do a government job and they're paying a middleman as well on top of that in order to pay me, right, because it's part of the contract, that means the government's debt is higher. You're increasing the government debt with your so-called small government ideas. It doesn't matter what you do. If you privatize FEMA, if you privatize the education system, the Department of Education, healthcare, look at healthcare. It's a disaster. Republicans will blame it on Obamacare, but the reality is Trump was in. There were other people who were in office who didn't really do too much of anything about it, right? It's still super expensive, and what did he do? Remove the $75 mandate. All you got to do is say that you have health care even if you don't, you're not going to have to pay the $75. I mean, come on. And then, Biden comes in and says, okay, well, we're just going to make you upload your thing now, your proof of your insurance so that you're not lying to us about the $75. If you people don't understand that these two parties are working together and what they agree on is this. We'll do this for our people. You do this for your people. They're going to like it. Our people are going to like what we do. What your people are going to do or you're going to hate, and vice versa. And then we'll do this now, and then you can do this later on. It'll bring the whole thing together. And that's what they did. Trump removed the individual mandate. Biden requires you to have proof of insurance now. One side likes it, one side hates it. Vice versa when the other one does it. If you can't see this, if you can't figure this out, joke's on you. And that's what's going to happen when they come in and they try to privatize FEMA. If you think it's a good idea to privatize things, again, look at the health care. You can blame it on Obamacare all you want, but that's not what it was, because insurance was also expensive before the Affordable Care Act. That's why health insurance was an issue, because not everybody was able to get health insurance and not everybody was able to afford it. That was the whole argument and the whole point of getting into that conversation. Did it fix the problem? No. Did it make it better? In some ways. Did it make it worse? In other ways, yes, it made it worse. Good in some ways, bad in others. It was a trade-off, but more people got health insurance in the end. The simple fact of the matter was, it was still privatized, so what happened? The wealthy middleman decided to go ahead and pass the buck on to the consumer. If you privatize FEMA, that's what's going to happen. If you privatize the National Weather Service, and we're going to have to all start paying for weather radars and shit, do you really want to have to watch cable news? Or do you really want to have to to pay the Weather Channel or someone else instead of using an app that's for free, because it's a free service. Our taxes pay for that. So we're going to get rid of taxes, and then we're going to have to pay for a service, which, by the way, is going to be more expensive in the end anyways, because what we pay in taxes actually is a lot less expensive. Why? Because when you're paying a private company, you have to pay these CEOs and all the other middlemen within it. It's cheaper to go through taxes, and the fact that you people haven't remembered that, it's we the people, we govern ourselves. Your guys' distrust for government is misfounded. You should be distrusting private corporations. There's people down there saying that FEMA's in the way. FEMA's doing this, FEMA's doing that. No, you all going down there not trusting the government to do their job. Your distrust. You're getting in the way of FEMA doing its job. They can't have a whole bunch of ants running around doing what they want to do and not organizing. Y'all are the problem. Go back home and let the government do their job. Our taxes pay for that. Like, seriously. Tell me you're not brainwashed. It's wild. It's wild. You want to do that for education? So you really want a private corporation to tell you what your kids can and cannot learn? It's about parents' rights. At least with the government, we can fight and argue and tell the government, no, I elect you. This is what I want to do. You do it with a private corporation, what's that going to do? You might as well just pull your kids out of school. You can yell at the private corporation and be like, no, I'm just going to take my kid out of school and I'm not going to pay him anymore. You could do that. It's not going to be as good as, it's going to be the same thing as the government does, as less. Period. Where I work now, I was able to take my entire department, not just at the government location or campus that I'm at now, but through all the campuses. I was able to take my department plus all the other departments, and I was able to save the government $5 million. I did the math. I was able to get us all just our existing pay with a government pension, government health care, government benefits. All of us across the different sites, my whole department, and compared to what the contract is now, $5 to $8 million I was able to save us. So we were to have full government benefits and a pension, which we're not having now. And why do you think that is? Because we were able to toss out the middleman. We were able to throw them out. There's no CEOs making millions of dollars anymore. So you're able to save millions of dollars. It's that simple. And the fact that you guys actually want to argue that FEMA's in the way, or the Department of Education's taken over and it's we the people. People like you and I are in the government running the government. They don't have any reason to profit off of it. If you bring private corporations in to profit off of it, that's the problem. Why do you think the military-industrial complex is so massive and we're always getting into wars? You need to get into wars to profit off of it. If they don't have to have a war, that means they don't have to produce all this military equipment. Duh. It's the same thing with food. Our food is becoming addictive because we, the people, don't have control over the food anymore. Private corporations are making the food addictive. It's not actually food. We, the people, need to learn to trust our government. If you don't trust our government, that's because you don't trust yourself, because the government is us. People make mistakes on both sides of the aisle. And that's all I really have to say about that. Don't make the mistake of privatizing everything. Things will be cheaper if you get someone in there who knows what they're doing to run the numbers. Yeah, you'll have to toss some contracts, because that's the other thing, too, with government contracting. The only ones you'll really be stuck with contracting all the time and sending money out for is usually construction. I mean, it's difficult to have full-time construction all the time. Now, where I am, there's construction all the time. There's hardly ever any downtime at all. There's constantly construction. They're constantly tearing down a building and building it back up again for flipping no reason. And so that's bad management and that's bad spending. But hey, you have this budget and you want to get rid of it and you don't want it to get cut, so you spend it. That's a problem. I also think it's a fairy tale, because if you need something, just say you need to budget for it in advance, so the government knows what you'll need the following year. Just because you don't use it this year doesn't mean you're going to lose it, or you should lose it. So that's something that needs to be worked out with, and people need to start using their brain and some common sense. But we literally have 365 days a year at this campus. There's always construction, tearing something down and building it back up again. So even then, but these contractors come in and they bid on stuff, and every one of them get together and highball the government. So that's the other problem. You're not just paying a middleman. The middleman is overcharging the government. The government goes, well, he was the lowest contractor, the best one we could find, and they try to spread the wealth. That's the mistake. That's why the deficit is so high. The deficit is so high because it's not because government is too big. It's because government contracting is too big. Get rid of the contractors, get rid of the middleman, and you will have a smaller government deficit. That's simple. Take care, y'all.